सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
We in India are lucky to have a knowledge base that is such a masterly analysis of the human psyche. They visualized the state of perfection. They understood through their research that which stands in the way of our achieving perfection and prescribed clear-cut, precise methods to eliminate the obstacles so that we may reach that state of perfection. Who should reach? Not just the elite, not just the brilliant people, not just the highly endowed people, but every single human being. And this is the brilliance of our masters. Today, we pay homage to them, our heartfelt homage to the gurus in every field of endeavor who have left us this fantastic heritage. Minus this heritage, we would be nothing today. And so, we take a look at this vast body of knowledge that helps us to move from being just an ordinary person, ordinary mortal, to an extraordinary immortal. From being a mediocre person to being a brilliant, outstanding person. From being a stunted personality like a bonsai tree to a majestic being that the world will pay homage to. And today we must, absolutely must, make a determined effort to somehow proceed on this path to perfection in and through our various talents, our various fields of endeavor, our respective gift and talent. So, in our scriptures, like in no other body of knowledge, they have identified the one element that stands in the way of our excellence, and that is desire, kama. So, kama, desire, is translated as a wish, a desire, a want, a longing, a craving. For what? We do not know. In our enthusiasm to want and crave, we somehow seem to have forgotten what it is that we are pursuing. It's like a little child who cries when it's hungry, but it doesn't know that it's hungry. It only experiences a sense of emptiness within. And so, a sense of discomfort. It doesn't know what it needs in order to be comfortable. And so it cries. And when it cries, it needs the mother to understand instantaneously. Because when the child cries, the child always asks for things that are other than food. It cries for a toy, it cries for a matchbox, it cries for anything and everything except food. But the mother in her wisdom understands that what the child needs is just food. So what does she do? Alongside other things that the child is asking for, the mother ingeniously slips in a morsel of food. And it is only when that morsel of food goes into the mouth that the child is appeased, the crying stops, it is comforted, it is fulfilled. And so are we, constantly going around the world pursuing something, running after something, craving, wanting something or the other. But we don't know what we are seeking. And Vedanta, the Bhagavad Gita, in its wisdom, these great gurus of yore, in their not just wisdom, but their immense love and affection for us, just as the mother has love for the child, gave us the things that we are asking for: success, money, prosperity, name, fame, everything. But that will not fulfill us, just as no toy will fulfill a hungry child. What really fulfills us is spiritual food. And it is this spiritual food that ultimately appeases us. So, kama is just wanting. Wanting what? We do not know. But whatever it is, this desire, is it a friend or a foe? That's the topic of the discussion today. It appears to be a friend because no achievement is possible without desire. Whether it's an industrialist creating prosperity and employment in society, whether it is a scientist unraveling the mysteries of nature, whether it is a musician who wrings your heart like you just heard with exquisite music, or a sports person like Roger Federer, the Wimbledon final, who lifted you out of your mundane lives to the spirit of freedom and excellence. Whatever it be, it is desire that is the driving force. Desire is an energy, a force to reckon with. And that is the only power that we have within us. So it seems as if desire is necessary. Desire is a friend. There is a story of Kamadeva. Kama also means love. Kamadeva, you know who he is? At least this you should know. Cupid in Hindu mythology. So once the demons wanted to, gods wanted help to eradicate Taraka, the great demon. And they knew only Shiva's son could do it. So what they did was, and Shiva was there in Mount Kailash doing immense tapas. They couldn't disturb him. So they went to Kamadeva. Kamadeva, Cupid, went and somehow drew Shiva's attention to Parvati, and that's how they were able to overcome the demon. But when Shiva understood what had happened, he got wild with Kama for disturbing his penance. So he burnt him to ashes straight away. And it was Kamadeva's wife who pleaded with Lord Shiva and said, after all, he did it only for the welfare of humanity. And so somehow Shiva brought him back to life. But the point is that it is desire that makes things happen. But if you look deeper, you find that desire, in fact, impedes action. Therefore, it's a foe. Desire weakens you. Desire reduces you to a bundle of nerves. Your strength comes from rising above desire. It is only when you have no desire that you have this immense power within yourself. As long as you're under the shadow of desire, you become a weak shadow of your original personality. And instead of looking at opportunities, you start looking at obstacles. Instead of being positive, you start being negative, and eventually all the desires pile up and reduce you to inactivity. You get paralyzed into inaction like Arjuna was. Arjuna was paralyzed into inaction when he was overcome with desire. Every time Federer has to play Nadal, he gets paralyzed into losing. And so also all of us. So therefore, let's look into the origin of desire. Where does desire come from? When you have a desire for anything, where does it spring from? It springs in the mind, but where does it spring from? A feeling of emptiness. Like for instance, if you haven't had food since lunch, I'm unnecessarily creating a desire in you. If you haven't had food since lunchtime, what happens? You experience a sense of emptiness in the stomach, And then thoughts come in your mind, and the thoughts go out into the world for an object called food. If you have gone home and had what is that, bhel puri, sev puri and pav bhaji and all the rest of it, and then come here, will you think of food? No. So the source of desire is a sense of emptiness, a void, unfulfillment, incompleteness that haunts us every moment of our life. And it is this that drives us out into the world. Because of this emptiness, thoughts come in your mind, and the thoughts go out into the world to acquire various objects in the belief that if I get objects of the world, my emptiness will go. So therefore, desire is defined as the strategy of the intellect to fulfill an unfulfillment felt within, to complete an incompleteness, to fill an emptiness that you experience within. Now, somewhere here there seems to be a catch. Are we being led up the garden path? Because from birth till now we have been fulfilling various desires. Do you agree? And you have obtained many, many objects of desire. Yesterday there were 3 lucky ones who got one object of desire. What is that? Nano. After 10 days you go and ask them, are you fulfilled? They'll come up with some problem or the other. The first problem is the fellow lost the keys. So, somehow, in spite of getting various objects of desire, this emptiness doesn't seem to go. It doesn't even reduce. So, you feel cheated at the end of it all. But Vedanta comes to our rescue and tells us exactly why this emptiness does not go. Because if the emptiness and the unfulfillment was for real, you could fill it. The problem is, this emptiness is imaginary. And this emptiness has come about because of ignorance of your fullness. So what do you need? Do you need objects of desire to fill you? What do you need? Knowledge. Knowledge of what? Fullness. Excellent. You didn't need to come here. I was waiting for someone to say, knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, and I would have pounced on it. You denied me that pleasure. So, knowledge of your fullness. That is what you need, friends. And there are billions of people all over the world rushing out and striving and struggling and stressing themselves out and getting tension over objects of desire. Our full-time occupation in life, 24/7 occupation in life, is somehow or the other go out and fulfill desires. When all you need is knowledge of your fullness. Therefore, friends, today, in paying homage to our wonderful gurus, the one thing that we need to understand is that we need knowledge, knowledge of our fullness. And therefore, alongside other things that you do, alongside your other obligations, your primary focus must be on how do I gain this knowledge of my fullness. And therefore it is that we have these occasions periodically interjected in our culture. Our very culture is replete with these reminders. But this is not the end of it. When we come here on this occasion and say, okay, I've paid homage to the gurus, you can't go home and say, now I'm chutti till next Guru Purnima. No, it is only a reminder to get you to gain that knowledge of your fullness which comes through the scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, various scriptures that there are. And you must embark on a daily study of these scriptures. And therefore, we have these books and CDs available outside to help you to get onto the path. We have weekly classes in Bandra and in South Bombay. We have once a month lectures at the club Andheri, just round the corner. thanks to Mrs. Nishi Khanna and Mr. Dinesh Khanna for giving us that wonderful facility to have that interaction once a month. So please do come, do avail of this. But most importantly, study. And this is why we have embarked on the school program and youth program, because it is only when you're young that you are open-minded. By the time you become 30, 40, your mind is shut. So you go to various places not to learn, you go to find out whether that fellow is as wise as you are. So the learning stops. Therefore, we are addressing the young of this country. And it is imperative to address the youth of this country, because there are all kinds of things that are going on in this country which you probably don't know. And it's shocking. I've just come back from Delhi. And you hear of the toxic waste that is being dumped in places. Like, for instance, in Kerala, there is an entire district called Kasaragod district, in which all children born, if at all there are children born, they are horribly deformed. And you know why? Because of the indiscriminate use of pesticides and fertilizers. In Jalandhar district, in Bhatinda district, in the food basin of this country, our future generation is being born deformed because we are in deep slumber. Now, we are a write-off case. It's the younger generation that needs to be awakened. As the Upanishad says, Uttishta, Jagrata. Get up, be aware of things around you. Make a stand. You have all kinds of instruments now to make a difference to the world. You will say, how can I alone make a difference? You know, many years ago, close to 30 years ago, I think, the powers that be came up with one fanciful idea to remove the oval Maidan and construct things there. One old lady took it upon herself, just one lady took it upon herself to do something about it. She shot off a letter to the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and said, what are you doing to the city of Mumbai? It was a miracle that Indira Gandhi actually read the letter and put it to a halt. So you can make a difference. And you can only make a difference when you're aware of things. This awareness is blocked by desire, is blocked by tamas, is blocked by a state of a false sense of well-being. So therefore, desire, knowledge is the antidote to all our problems in life, as Shankaracharya said. Now let's look at it a little more in detail. If happiness were really to exist in objects as we believe, isn't that what you believe? One person believes LCD TV, my happiness